The Film Crickets are intended for mature audiences. Any guests on the Film Crickets do not necessarily share the same opinions as the Film Crickets. It's time for the Film Crickets with Jay Fortier, Chris Martineau, and Melanie Howerton. On this week's episode, our good friend from afternoons at 94HJY, Steve Scarpetti, returns to the program, and Jay, Chris, Melanie, and Steve review the 1986 science fiction action film, Aliens. Does it stand the test of time? Let's find out. Your Film Crickets are on now.
Hey friends, and welcome to the Film Crickets. It's a podcast where we revisit movies from 1980 to 1999 and decide beyond a shadow of a doubt whether or not these movies stand the test of time. I am your co-host, Jay Fortier, along with my good friend and co-host, Chris Martineau. How you doing, man?
Hey, man, what's up? Oh, yeah.
Doing all right. Cool.
All right.
And also introducing my good friend and co-host, Melanie Howerton. How are you, Melanie?
I'm very good. How are you?
Doing well. I'd like to introduce once again. He's actually joined us a couple times already, and it's all three have been James Cameron films. Just by I think it's just luck, I guess. But it's Steve Scarpetti. Welcome, man.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me back again. This is awesome.
He's turning into an all-star.
Yeah.
Steve Scarpetti, Film Cricket all-star.
Scarpetti. He just sounds like a mob man.
Whoa!
He needs to be in a movie and he's part of the mob. Yeah, Scarpetti wants you killed.
or
Italian name, but the red hair really messed with the cops in my town.
Nice.
I never saw an Italian before.
Or they're profiling, right? They're profiling.
Yes, exactly.
They're ready to pull you over, and they go, no, that's not him.
No.
There's no way.
That guy must be on his way to the Flying Scarpetti's act over at the circus. No way that's the guy.
No way.
Look at the hair. I'm glad you're here, Steve. That's fantastic. Hey, so we are, I guess we're looking at Aliens this week. This movie for me has quite a history. I'm glad that we're able to do it. I've mentioned on the pod before the James Cameron pitching the idea for Aliens to his production team, saying you made some money on Alien, wrote that on a board, and then wrote Aliens, and nobody said anything, and then he wrote Aliens and made the S a dollar sign, and everybody greenlit it. That's a true story from what I hear. So we're heading into to Aliens, and let's go into our history on this. Jay kind of was talking about this before. I'll start with you, Steve. And again, thanks for coming again on our show. I know that you're excited to talk about it. So what is your history with this movie? When did you see it? How many times have you seen it? What's your deal?
This is one of those movies that's on my list of must-watch once a year. Halloween's on there, Jaws is on there, Aliens is on there. And I love the first movie. Yes, yeah, Melanie, you have great taste.
Well, Melanie's favorite is Halloween, and Chris's favorite is Jaws. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Look at us.
Yeah.
That's why I like being on here, because you guys are like my kindred spirits when it comes to movies. It's fantastic.
Well, they're willing to do to your All right, so did you see it in the theater?
No. So I was too young to see it. I think when this came out, I was 7. So
okay, fair enough. Well, I was
saw it later on.
I was in the 6th grade, but I saw it. All right, so you didn't see it in the theater, so you saw it on VHS, I'm sure, and you watch it repeatedly once a year. It's one of those things like, there's that moment, and I don't know anything about your relationship, Steve. I don't know, dating or married or whatever. All I'm saying is this. One of the beauty parts about meeting a new person that you like is half of the first, 6 months of the relationship is, you haven't seen X? Oh, you got to see that. So is this one of those movies where everybody new that you meet, you force them to watch Aliens? Is that kind of the situation?
Absolutely. Yes.
All right.
This is a must watch. Like some people, they're like, oh, a sequel to Alien? That can't be any good because, they only remember 3 and Resurrection and you're like, no. Let's go back. This is a absolute classic that stands alone. And then you show it to them, and they're like, oh my God, this is fantastic.
So wait a minute. Before I move on to Melanie and Jay, Steve, I just want to ask you, because you brought it up, you're too young to see it in the theater. When you did eventually see it, what age?
Oof, probably 12 or 13.
About the right time, because it's very like... And can I also assume that you were maybe into the same Gen X things like us, like G.I. Joe, Transformers, things like that?
Do you see the stuff behind me there, Chris?
No, I can't. Oh, I can't see it.
I turned the lights off because they were glaring, but that right there is filled with G.I. Joe stuff, actually. On top and there. That's Ghostbusters. That's also the clock that I turned off today, so we don't have the cuckoo clock going on today. Just to let you guys know. Okay?
That's perfect.
Nice.
All right.
That's funny.
All right, cool. So, all right, I'll get a pretty good gauge on your fandom of Aliens. Let's go to Jason. Jason, what's your deal with Aliens?
By the way, this is not to surprise, shock, or offend, but I saw it probably like a year after it came out. Like I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it like at home, and that's the last time I saw it.
Really? Wow. Really?
And it's not even that it wasn't good. It's just like
whatever.
I saw it, I liked it, and then it was one of those I just never grabbed and said, okay, I'm gonna watch that today. Maybe because like I felt like I always wanted to like sort of start the whole thing, but every time I watch the first one, I need cups of coffee to get like through like the major part of the beginning. I find it very slow.
Oh, it is, but it's so good. It's a slow burn.
No, it's fine.
Good,
But I think we're going to have to force me to watch it. Like, it's going to have to be, because when I watch the first one, when I attempt to, nothing is glaring down at me saying, you have to finish this by tomorrow because you're doing it tomorrow. So it's like, I go, I don't know, man. They're just like doing nothing. I've got other things right now. Just... You get what I'm saying? Is that...
sure.
Anyways,
I know where you're coming from. I
this
couldn't
is a blast.
vehemently disagree more, but that's fine. I mean, I get where you're... I do understand your take, and that's cool.
This was a blast. I had fun. I really enjoyed myself.
Cool.
Like I said, meant it zero. Like I don't mean to ruin anybody's day by saying that this has not been like in my radar, but I remember it being good, and I liked it again. So...
Last I checked, see footnote clue, not all of us like to have to love the same movies. Now, by the way, Melanie, who likes the movie Clue for some reason, at the Alamo Draft House next weekend, they're having like a Rocky Horror Picture Show situation with Clue. We're supposed to bring in like stuff and throw it at the screen and like say I swear to God, it's crazy. Of course, they serve liquor there at the Alamo Draft House.
Well, obviously, it holds up somehow, huh?
No, it doesn't. So anyhow,
I brought a lead pipe.
So I can keep hitting myself in the fucking head.
I've got silver candlesticks that I can bring.
Right.
God.
No, but it's like you're throwing that and you accidentally don't throw it far enough. Oh, what the hell?
Yeah.
I had to sit in the front row.
Yeah. All right, Melanie. So your mother probably owns this movie.
Okay, so she doesn't.
Okay. Oh, she doesn't? Oh, my God.
She doesn't, and the only history I have with Aliens is I remember when I was, like, I don't know, 7, having the alien, the real, like, original Alien puzzle, and it was just this long, skinny, and green and black box with the alien on it.
Okay.
And then I remember just a couple pieces of that. And then this one, I am like Jay, I've literally watched it one time. The only thing I remembered was the little girl hiding in the beginning. I remember her saying, "Get away from her, you bitch." And I remember Lance Hendrickson basically when he was like, kind of at the end with half of them there and all those little parts kind of hanging out of him. And I couldn't remember if that was like, if it was like his head with like alien tentacles underneath or what. I don't remember what the heck was going on, but I guess it was just his, tubing or whatever. Because he was, an android. That's literally all I remember.
All right.
So I've seen it one time. Right. I don't own it. My mom doesn't own it.
All right. So
I feel so much better.
So as we go
when
into...
you were talking, I'm like, I'm going to be right there with you.
That's cool. So we are in the Hollywood squares of basic, like, childhood connection to this movie. Like, Circle gets a square.
Yeah. I'll take Jay and Melanie for X.
Yeah, I know.
Meaning because I didn't see it that much.
Yeah. But so that's interesting because it seems as though Steve and I have a link in terms of it being part of our formative childhood experience. And Melanie and Jay saw it and said, that was really good. Not that it's bad, but didn't really pick up on it. So now let me get into my story. This is a very formative movie for me. Came out in 86. I was 12. I saw it in the theater. My sister saw it first. She said, you're going to like this movie. For whatever reason, she took me to the movie, so it's a good experience there.
Yeah.
My parents let me go to an R-rated movie. I'm sure my sister said there's no nudity or sex. It's just a lot of like alien gore and cursing and whatever.
Yeah.
So they let me go. So I went to go see it. Fell in love with it immediately because it kind of spoke to my G.I. Joe, like Marines and guns and bazookas tied to flamethrowers. Come on. Anyway, so, and I'll get to more on that in a minute. I saw the movie. I immediately went out to Walden Books or whatever, bought the fanzine for it. I just kept looking at the pictures. Eventually, when it came out, I immediately told my grandmother, you must go pirate this movie. I didn't say that, but she dubbed it for me. Then I owned it, and then it was a matter of showing it to all my friends at every sleepover possible with my fanzine, and then I watched it over and over and over again. I was a lonely kid. Sometimes I'd like to go out. Sometimes I'd like to stay in. When I came home, I put on Aliens and I watched. Like once I was too old for G.I. Joe cartoons and Transformer cartoons, because at some point you go, isn't that funny? Now as adults we're like, cartoons are awesome, but at some point you go, I'm too old for cartoons. While these other bastards are watching Rick and Morty and all kinds of shit and whatever, right? So you go, well, I can't watch that anymore. But Aliens filled that void.
I know what you're talking about, Chris.
I know.
I'm rewatching G.I. Joe right now on TV. Okay, so
nobody dies, Steve. Why does nobody dies
all the time? I always watch Scooby-Doo.
Hey, you know what? Hey, spoiler alert. It was Old Man Jenkins using the legend to scare everybody away, and then G.I. Joe wins, Cobra loses, and nobody dies. All right, so...
Quick question. Did anybody see the clip that they used in Family Guy that actually used the real Fred voice?
Huh? What are you talking about?
Fred from Scooby-Doo.
Gee whiz, gang. Looks like the killer gutted the victim, strangled him with his own intestines, and then dumped the body in the river.
Jinkies, what a mystery.
You're right, Scoob. We're dealing with one sick son of a bitch.
Oh, my God.
That was on an ID for the radio station that my partner Doug had for many, many years, where it said Doug, and then that clip would play, and then it would say 94 HJY.
I remember the clip. I actually remember the clip.
That's funny. All right, it's awesome. Let's break down Aliens and why Jay and Melanie don't like it, and Steve and I do. I'm just kidding. All right, so we got Aliens coming in 1986. It's rated R. It comes in at 2 hours and 17 minutes. The one sentence tagline is: decades after surviving the Nostromo incident, Ellen Ripley is sent out to reestablish contact with a terraforming colony, but finds herself battling the alien queen and her offspring. Directed by James Cameron, written by James Cameron, David Giler and Walter Hill. Walter Hill also worked on 48 Hours. Starring Sigourney Weaver, Michael Biehn, Carrie Henn as Newt, and I believe her only role, Paul Reiser, who was fantastic, Bill Paxton, R.I.P. Lance Henriksen, and the only other person I'll mention is Jeanette Goldstein as Private Vasquez, and I will get into that, why I'm going to bring her up in a minute. Okay, so Aliens. So I have a question for everybody as we get into Aliens. Not a horror movie.
No.
Agreed?
No, it's sci-fi.
agree.
Sci-fi, right? Hard sci-fi with jump scares.
Action sci-fi.
Action sci-fi. Yeah. Now, for those of us that can stay awake through Alien, I'm looking at you, Jason. No, I'm just kidding. For those that can't stay awake, that is obviously a slow burn Ridley Scott horror film where the monster is hiding in the shadows most of the time, and you never see the monster really. You kind of sort of see it at the end, but you never really get a full-on glimpse. This movie, so I ask you this, for those of us that saw Alien, are you excited to finally see all of the aliens in full light and thousands of them all at once? Like, is that scary or is that action?
I don't know. I just thought it was cool.
All right.
I thought it was awesome.
It's just awesome.
Because they look great. Like,
yeah.
talk about a 1-2 punch with Cameron, with Terminator and this, which I don't know about you guys, but when we watched this, and I watched Terminator 1 and 2 recently, the color schemes and a lot of there's no CGI, but the practical effects, there's a lot of similarities there with these movies. It's almost like they're taking place in the same world, you know?
Sure.
And to see those aliens, like, they just look, as a kid, when I first saw it, I was like, this looks awesome. This is so badass, you know? And I still think that when I watch it now.
It's funny though, because I don't remember, like I said, Aliens 1, but I always I always remember that alien, what he looked like, because I had that puzzle. So to me, I don't remember what.
I remember Aliens more because of other pop culture references, like at the end of Spaceballs, when they have the guy, they do the whole scene again with the alien coming out of the chest, and countless other pop moments, you know.
But I remember his head and what he looked like, and the puzzle was really long. I mean, it was a pretty big puzzle, really long. And I remember it because it was like perfect. It was just the alien, so I knew exactly what he looked like. And it's really nice. I wish I still had that. I know I kept it somewhere. Probably got ruined in my grandmother's attic, but I know I kept that because I loved it. So I was excited to see the aliens again. And I know this sounds weird, but I know there's some sort of a creature somewhere, and I don't know if it's a sea creature or what, in real life right now. And I remember him having this weird-looking head like that. And recently I saw something that looked like that, and I said, God, that looks like the creature from Aliens. And I can't remember what it is, but when these guys made up this alien, they had to have seen whatever the heck this creature is. There's like a real life creature that has kind of a head that looks similar to that. I don't know if it's a sea creature or what, but
we got to go to H.R. Geiger and his imagination when thinking up the creature design for Alien and Aliens. They went to him for the Queen Mother at the end of Aliens. If you ever are curious about the making of Aliens, there's something on YouTube. There's a documentary. It's like 2 hours long on the making of Aliens. I got to tell you, that is sleep inducing. That is you'd think it'd be interesting. It is not. And if you think H.R. Geiger's an interesting guy, he is not. He is beyond all of this. He's like, yes, well, he's like foreign or Dutch. So I want to do a gold member voice, you know. He's fascist. He's fascist.
Guys, I love it. Hold on. You went. He's either foreign or Dutch.
Dutch, whatever. Hey, look, you crazy Dutch bastard.
There's two choices.
It's a totally different plane of existence. Look. Oh, jeez.
He's either foreign or he's Dutch. I mean, sorry.
Sorry.
It's funny, man.
Yeah. I'm kind of beyond all of this art, and I played this. He's really not interesting at all. Doesn't mean his art isn't interesting. So don't at me, folks. But I'm just saying. So look. Here's the thing about Aliens. It's obviously it tricks you really well into thinking, and I'm going to go around the room on this, that it is the uber masculine person will save the day. The masculine male will go in and save the day. And Ripley is just kind of going along for the ride. In fact, we find out by the end of the movie that she's going along to ride to hopefully be impregnated by the aliens so they can bring a sample back to Earth. That's really the mission. We find that out later from Paul Reiser, who plays a great scumbag. But how uber masculine. Everybody's going in. They got Marines. You got Bill Paxton, who is over the top masculine, but has no credentials really. Once the shit hits the fan, he becomes a whiny baby.
Out the whole time.
He absolutely does. Fuck, man, we're doomed.
Yeah,
game over.
We're in some shit now, man. What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
So
the whole movie.
And even Vasquez, who is female, is super masculine. Think of it this way. Now, Steve and I talked about it before. What's cooler if you're a little kid? And I don't know about you, Steve. I love this movie. I love G.I. Joe. I used to go, and Melanie, you can maybe agree with me, and Jay, I think you're on board. When you're a kid and you don't have toys, you will make anything a gun. You'll take a Barbie, rip off a leg and arm, and turn it into a gun. I used to go in my woods and find sticks and logs and use those as guns because it looked like a gun. And once I saw Alien, I found sticks that I would then tape together with duct tape so I could get the flamethrower, grenade launcher, machine gun thing so I could and I could walk around my yard and I could pretend I was, shooting fake aliens. Because that's what we're going. Young boys want to see that masculine thing. And here's the thing. Look, guys, even the spaceship, the Nostromo? No, that's the original spaceship. That's the original. The ship they come in on.
I can't remember.
It looks like a gun. It looks like one of the guns they use. So a gun is flying in to save the day, and that gun is housing all of these manly men. And guess what happens? They lose in dramatic fashion. So what to me is hysterical is that Alien, the movie Alien, is a movie about, you can disagree or whatever, but what I hear is that it's a movie about co-opting the female reproductive system. The ship in Alien is it's run by Mother. The alien impregnates men, but then men have to go through the pain, quote unquote, of childbirth, a lot of blood, and then things erupt out of you. And then eventually at the end of the day, the person that saves the day is a female character. And that's what's so mind-blowing about Alien for its day. You come to Aliens, all these men are going in, and immediately they don't know what to do. Brute force is not going to do it. They think they got their shit together. They don't. And once the shit hits the fan, who's in charge? Sigourney Weaver and a small girl. And who are they battling? The Queen. So it's about men don't get shit done in this movie. They kind of pretend like they're in charge. Because they got the guns. But once that doesn't work, it's over. It's over, man. It's game over. All right, so I'm just throwing that out there. I'd love some comments.
No. I don't think I've ever ripped apart my Barbie to make sure she looked like a gun.
I didn't have a Barbie. I stole people's Barbies.
I was too much of a Barbie girl. I took very good care of them, and I grew up in an all-girl family, so I never played guns or anything.
Well, I didn't know like your brother-sister situation. So I'm
all
sorry.
girls everywhere.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, Jay, what are you going to say?
No, I think Cameron tends to do this often.
Okay.
I mean, look at Linda Hamilton's character.
Yeah, you're right.
She's the one that pulls down on the thing after Reese dies.
Yep.
And crushes the Terminator. Then, by second movie, she's like, she's like able to cock the gun with one hand, like the shotgun. I mean, even Jamie Lee Curtis, like she starts off one way, ends up differently. Like by the end of the movie, she's a spy.
Steve, come on, Titanic.
Chris, you're right about the whole masculine thing, too. Like, the first thing they do when they get out of cryosleep, which, can we talk about how brutal waking up in space is, apparently, in the future, where you're just surrounded by light as soon as you wake up from your slumber? How insane is that?
Yep.
How insane. I was looking at the movie going, well, that's just horrible. I'm never going to space. That's not going to happen for me. I sleep with blackout shades. This is nuts. But then as soon as they wake up, they're doing push-ups, showing how masculine and tough they are, Yep.
Yeah, because their muscles haven't wasted away or anything. Laying there for 57 years,
Yeah, I know. Hey, screw food. I want to work out.
Yeah. No.
I got all this muscle and all this energy.
Better than that, screw food. I'm going to put an old chewed up stogie in my mouth and light her up.
Oh my God.
All right, every formation a parade, every banquet every meal a banquet, every formation a parade. I love the core. Look into my eye. To this day, and I can't really use it in my professional life because I'm a teacher, but the phrase, let's get going, assholes and elbows, is probably one of my favorite things. Doesn't make a lick of sense. I'm just going, how does that even work? Like, how do
you're also talking about
your asshole?
Childhoods, and I saw a little mini. I was like, behind the scenes, right? I was looking for behind the scenes stuff on YouTube. I was like, 3 hours, 2 hours, 16 minutes. I'll take it, right? I was like, I don't want to watch 3 hours worth of this. And I said, I saw one, and it said the toys for this movie came out when Alien 3 came out, which was like 7 years later, right?
What?
So it's
really?
like Aliens toys, like so everybody that's in the toys for Aliens.
Yeah.
Was right before Alien 3, but if it's like a rated R film. It's kind of a weird thing to have a toy line about. Like, they even had, like, a squirt thing coming out of the alien's mouth.
Like, the 80s were a hell of a time to be alive, because that's not the only series that happened. There was Police Academy toys. There was RoboCop toys. There was Rambo toys. Toys.
Yeah.
Like, what? All that nonsense. It was so strange. Such a strange time.
No, they had Nightmare on Elm Street pajamas for children.
Yes. I think some of that children for marketing, because it was like, everyone's like, wait a minute, we're glorifying a child murderer. What are we doing?
And he's a pedophile. Where they have pedophile pajamas to bed.
Let's just forget about it.
But so I just think it's interesting is that he sets up, again, getting back to kind of the aliens bit, is that it's so strange that, you're going in and you have all this hardware and all this, you got the tanks and guns and flamethrowers and bazookas, and you're organized, it's tactical, you've got gear on and all that stuff, and none of it matters. Is that hubris is the end of everybody. If you go in thinking you know everything, then you're going to lose.
Well, the girl says that too. The little girl said that. She's like, she goes, they're here to protect you or whatever. And she said something like, it doesn't matter. It's not enough, or, okay, whatever. That makes no difference.
Well, yeah, to her, it's old hat, right? Like, she's already seen everyone die around her. Everyone. She's alone. She's living in a hermit inside a little hole that the aliens haven't gotten to yet.
And I'm sorry, but all I could think about was, give her a bath. That's all I could think. Just comb her hair out and give her a bath. It just... the whole time.
But in the sense of that, once so Ripley comes out of cryo freeze. We come to find out it's 86 years later. Everyone she knows is dead. She's totally alone. And by the way, every time that Ripley ends up in one of these movies, everybody she's come to know has been dead for like 40 years. Same thing happens in Alien 3 and then Resurrection. Oh yeah, Alien 3. At the end of Aliens, I'm sorry, spoiler alert, Sigourney Weaver and Michael Biehn and Newt all make it out. And the beginning of Alien 3, Newt dies, Michael Biehn dies, she's on her own. Like, immediately.
Okay, well, Jay, since we haven't watched that yet, now we know what's happening.
Well, but it's a weird movie. It's really...
It's not good.
It's not good.
I heard a lot of bitching about 3, so I've never started it.
3 and 4.
3 and 4 not good?
A lot of people. Guys, I got to say, I do like the AVP.
Yes, I agree with that. Good. It's a fun movie.
It's a lot of fun.
It is.
I don't know.
Don't wait and turn your brain off.
Alien versus Predator.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
That's good.
It's so much fun.
I know I like Predator.
And if I can, Prometheus is good.
Oh yeah.
Alien Covenant is a fucking weird movie. Watching Michael Fassbender kiss himself as a clone is the weirdest fucking thing you're ever gonna see.
It's the scariest thing in the movie.
It's so weird. I had no idea what was going on. That Alien Covenant had no idea what was going on. It was so weird. I don't know what the hell. Go ahead, Jay. What?
Prometheus, right?
Yeah.
So I watched that movie not knowing that was knowing that was an alien movie.
Nope.
Because it wasn't selling it as one.
Nope.
Like, in the trailer. So like I'm like, holy crap, it's an alien movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just thought it was like a movie in space with like bad stuff happening. I didn't realize once that freaking thing came out, I was like, holy shit.
I can't remember that movie. I wonder if I've seen it. I'm sure I have.
Prometheus
it's pretty good. It's like in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty good. Anyway, and that's when they introduce it. This is all the Wayland Yutani. I think we see Wayland Yutani once in Aliens, like on some thing. I forget what it was, but yeah, it's the Wayland Corporation is behind all this. So anyway, but let's get back to it being an action film, but also kind of a horror movie. Because what do horror movies do? They can, if you're in a good horror movie, see Halloween, you take a simple idea and then you keep making it worse and worse and worse, right? So in Halloween, the whole gig with Halloween is you start in Haddonsville, right? Henfield, sorry, Melanie. It starts with the whole town and eventually keeps shrinking in until you're in the closet with Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers. This movie kind of does the same thing in several scenes, not the reverse out to in, but when the Marines go in and it's quiet and they're really searching out what's going on, Cameron is informing you as to what the dangers are, but the Marines don't know what the dangers are. We can see it. We can see what's going on. We've seen Alien. We know what these structures look like. Like, we've seen the slime. We've seen the acid stuff. And Sigourney Weaver is telling them, Ripley's telling them they're not listening. And it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse as they're looking for the survivors of this terraforming colony that they're going to investigate until they find the one live guy. And then the chest burster comes out, and then all the wheels fall off the bus. And in horror movie fashion, how chilling is it when everybody's life support just starts going off, 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 and the Marine inside the vehicle goes, "What the hell is going on?" And no one knows what to. Once something, you have all the firepower you want. Once something goes wrong, no one knows what to do, and that is terrifying. Maybe not Michael Myers terrifying, Exorcist terrifying, but terrifying. He is setting you up to feel that panic, and I'm wondering if what you guys felt in that scene when you see all that stuff going on. Go ahead, Steve.
He also takes away the guns, though, at one point.
Yes.
Because they're in an area where there's a nuclear reactor. So you do think at one point, well, they got guns. They got all this ammunition. Then they take that away and say, all you can use now is your flamethrower. So it does. You're right. It gets worse and worse.
And not only that, but they take away any visual cues. Because at some point, just like Jaws in the barrels, we don't need to see the shark to know the danger because the barrels are there. The motion sensor is terrifying because you don't know where they are. They're somewhere. The motion sensor's 2D,
what's funny, though?
but we live in a 3D world. They could be anywhere. That is horror movie stuff. It could be anywhere. Sorry, Jay. Go ahead.
No. What's funny about it is that it didn't seem to occur to them that they could be in the ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, but there's nothing but grates. Like there's grates below you, there's grates above you, right? Which usually when there's grates, there's space.
They're looking at the specs of the place, and they can't see that the specs say that there's all that stuff. So they explain it at one point, because you're right. I'm thinking the same thing, and then all of a sudden they explain it, and I'm like, oh, okay. They thought
but then immediately after that, when they realize that they're in the ceiling, they're running, and they're trying to. All they're thinking about is like slamming this door and like soldering it. I'm like, what difference does it make? Look up. They're going to go up there too. Like, why bother?
By the way, who pokes their head up into the ceiling? I mean, I'm not following.
Oh, yeah. I said the same thing.
I mean, Bill Paxton.
No, I think, it was
Hicks. You're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the point is why would you do that? Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Michael Biehn, I think he's one of the few people. There's a few people in this world that can look good being a mouth breather.
What do you mean? Who? Okay. All right. I'm horrible. I don't remember name. Who's Michael Biehn again?
He's Kyle Reese.
Okay. No, don't tell me names. Which is he the one from the Terminator?
He's the one that he's Kyle Reese. Yeah, from Terminator.
Okay. Yeah. Reese. Yeah.
Like he's always everything. Every scene he's got. Like everything is just his mouth is wide open. He's playing that in as Reese. He's playing that in this movie. He's that as the guy in Tombstone. He's a bad guy in Tombstone.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Don't forget The Abyss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's a good. He's a water mouth breather.
Wide open.
Wide open. Jeez, they're making it sound like he's Sloth from the Goonies.
No, but it's just like he gets away with it. Other people, no, but he gets away with it. It's just
he's a handsome man even when he's crazy.
The same thing. He's a handsome guy. Yeah.
Oh, he's a handsome dude. I think, but that to me is the terror part of it. In that you don't know where they are. They're closing in, and there's really nothing you can do about it. And let's go to the scene in the infirmary where Paul Reiser officially double crosses Ripley and puts her in the infirmary and locks the door and turns off when he turns off that screen.
The camera, yeah.
Oh my God. He thinks about it and just kind of goes bloop, and then kind of backs off. He's not a good villain. He's a shitty villain because he's just a coward. But boy, oh boy, you don't like him to begin with, and you really don't like him at the end. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's such a, he has a likable trait, about his persona, the way he talks to you, you know what I mean? When he's first addressing her in the room, he's kind of comforting. You know what I mean? The way he's don't worry about me. I know I work for the company. I apologize. I wouldn't put him first as the douchebag. You know what I mean? It's okay.
Yeah.
We didn't know he was an easy guy at the time.
Right. So it's kind of and we all, somebody now, I know him as the mad about you guy or whatever.
That's what I know, exactly.
No one brings up my two dads.
I was going to say my two dads, yes.
Come on.
Mad about you is all I think about, though.
I think it lasted longer.
Dads?
Yeah.
I think it lasted longer. But anyways, there's a little more of a, I'm just saying, he's got that, sitcom vibe. So, you see him and it's he's all right.
I think that's why you're so disappointed.
You know what?
That's why you're so disappointed when he does it, because you're like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
One last
I
thing
read
on
that his mom was watching this movie, and when he got killed, she was like, "Yeah," because he was such a jerk.
We got robbed of an actual process. We didn't get to watch him die.
Yeah.
We just watched him go. Oh.
But the jaws were extra juicy. The jaws were extra juicy when he died.
Okay.
Good stuff.
So,
yeah.
But the one last thing about that whole the corporate douchebag assholes that were running the show at the beginning, $1 million ship, whatever. They were saying that over talking about cash and money and how she ruined everything by blowing it up. It's like
they didn't even believe her. They were making fun of her.
But then they're trying to ask her to go to to this place where the colonies are. She had all the power. I mean, she had all the power. She by her saying no, they kept asking, please let us know. I would be like, tell you what, everyone in that board meeting has to go with us.
Sure.
Good one.
And then I'll go.
Yeah.
I want all of you there.
Yeah.
or I'm not going.
Yeah.
It's
all
that
the
simple.
people
Me
that
and my
made
cat
fun
are
of
going
her
to sit here.
didn't believe anything she was saying.
Well, come on down.
But
me and my cat are just going to chill out until you show up.
They are, first of all, the fat cats aren't going to put themselves in harm's way. And second of all, they are appealing to her good human nature, which they don't have because they're part of the Wayland Corporation, or substitute any corporation for that. They are going to play to her humanity for all of that. And so they've got her. They know she's going to say yes. They know she's going to break down. I mean, that's how good Burke, Paul Reiser, is at convincing her. He's used to be, this high-ranking officer and now you're at the loading docks. He's like, oh no, that's great. I'm glad you got that job. Saying you're way better than that, and she knows she is. So he's trying to play her like a fiddle, and we can all say what would you do? And the fact of the matter is, she's all alone anyway. Why not go do some good? Is she doing any good running a loader?
Oh, no, I'm not blaming her.
Oh, no, I'm just telling the vibe that they're going for here. That's the convincing, because she's the only person that kind of has a heart, except, a couple of the Marines, maybe. I mean, we don't get to know a lot of them for too long. I used to know all of them off the top of my head.
How did that guy become how could the guy become a lieutenant?
Who?
The guy who's sitting there going, what? Oh, use your flamethrowers.
It's because,
dude, wait a minute. How'd you get the job?
He's an officer, right? So maybe he worked his way up without actually having to do any combat. He was an academic. He went to he never had to go see active duty.
He seemed to know what to do.
Yeah, he's not a grunt. He's just studied it.
He's an ass kisser.
Yeah, that's it. So Gorman.
No, put that
Gorman
guy in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why'd you put her in charge? So anyway, again, going back to the horror aspects of this movie, being in and I was talking about the infirmary before, when they're trapped in the room with the face hugger. That is, if you don't like spiders.
Oh God, no.
You don't like the face hugger. It crawls like a spider. It flies through the air. It chokes you out and injects seed into your throat. So that's bad news. That's the shit you think about when you're sleeping and you see a spider in the corner of your bedroom wall and you're like, no, I'll just go to sleep. It'll be fine. And you're like, nope. And you have to go kill it. That's the shit you think about. It's going to end up in my mouth. So they're in that thing and think in the infirmary. Think about how chilling that is. It just keeps getting worse. They're isolated. They can't talk to anybody. They see the jar. It's been tipped over. They know it's inside. They don't know where. They try to get people's attention. There's no use. Then they try to get out by the window. It's unbreakable. It's such pristine and neat storytelling to ramp up the terror inside of that until eventually she's got to think on her own or try something. So it shows what character Ripley is. When the Marines are under pressure, they crack. When she's under pressure, she excels. And that's what makes her character the survivor, basically.
Well, also because she's already been through this shit once.
Well,
and
not, but she
they
hasn't been.
Have not. So
yeah, that's true. Well, she knows the characteristic, but she's never had to deal with danger quite like this.
Yeah, but she has to be quick on her feet.
100%.
Because of everything she went through before. So she's really smart.
Yeah, super smart. So that's what I mean by she doesn't have hubris. she knows she's in over her head. The Marines think they have it under control, and they never do. And that's what they fall victim to.
They think with all their weapons they're going to be fine. With flamethrowers and machine guns and whatever, they're going to be like, there's nothing that can stop me. They don't understand what they're dealing with, really.
How many people would crawl through 300 yards? The tube? Steve, talk to me about the tube.
I think you're right.
How long would you last in a tube with a flashlight? No.
No. I think I'd rather crawl through the crap tube in Shawshank Redemption than I would in the alien tube in this, okay?
But the best part about that is Bishop takes on the task. He's got no. I'm just an android. My programming is to help. I'm not going to choke you out like the other guy tried to do. He even says the other models were a little bit glitchy, right? When she glitchy, just tried to choke a person out with a magazine.
What happened in the first one with the android?
The android knew the mission was to bring back an alien from this thing, and didn't let the crew know. And then when Ripley finds out that he's to blame, kind of, sorta, the robot is to blame. The robot glitches and kind of has a malfunction and tries to murder Ripley by taking a magazine and shoving it down her throat until she suffocates.
No.
And then somebody comes in with like a baseball bat. Is it or a pipe? Oh, there's Clue again. Comes with a candlestick and and hits it, and his head flies off, and you see the milky stuff coming out of his thing, and then they tell them the mission was to actually get the aliens back. So in this one, she's leery of these androids because nobody knew it was an android, an alien,
until she saw the white stuff because he had cut himself doing that knife trick.
Right. So
and
we're waiting
for Lance too, though. They tease you that maybe he's also a bad robot because he's doing the experimentations with the ones they already found and all that stuff. So you're like, wait a minute, is he bad too? I like how they tease you like that.
Right, because that sets up the end when she thinks that he just left. He's given no inclination to do that. But, he so calmly says, I'll go in the tube. I mean, I'm the only one qualified to do it. You guys can't do it, and I'm a robot. I'm supposed to do this. I'll go in the tube. Just very soft-spoken. Just, I'll go in the tube. And they give him a gun. The best part, they give him a gun, and he just, gives it back. What am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with this? This worked before, right? No. And so it shows, again, the people that aren't masculine are the ones that are in charge making the right decisions. And they cut back to that tube 2 or 3 times, out of nowhere. Oh, by the way, when last we left Bishop, and it's just a dark circle with him going through the tube. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
He does a great job, and I'm talking about Cameron, about, okay, they're getting closer. They're about to escape, and then the newt gets, sucked down the slide.
Yep.
I didn't say the newt. I stuttered. I didn't call it the newt. No, but Newt gets sucked down that area, that little gear area, where she ends up going down the little tunnel, and she slides down. And it's oh my god, we were this close to leaving, and then now we got to go search for her. And is anybody else going? Okay, there's no way this she's gonna make the 14 minutes, even though. The whatever 14 minutes she's going down. I was like, how on earth is she gonna not only find her but then fight somebody?
Yeah. That's my only complaint.
Yeah,
is that I watched it the other night. I'm going.
Make it.
There's no way that matches up with the time.
Not at all.
Right. That's my only complaint in the movie.
But it is cool because they even show the intelligence of these beings and their self-preservation.
Yep.
Because she shoots when she faces the mom alien and all these aliens start coming around her.
I wanted to mention
she threatens to shoot the freaking the flames all over the eggs, and she goes, guys, go. The alien basically, and they all go, okay, sorry. So they're smart enough. They're not just wild animals.
Yeah, no, they're super smart, and they knew what she was going to do. And she basically told them, nope, get out of here, let her go. But then she did it anyway, and then she was bullshit. And at first when she was shooting everything, I'm like, why is she just freaking sitting there? And I didn't realize that okay, apparently she's attached to that egg shooting sack thing. I don't know what the hell that was.
Shoot.
But she couldn't move, and I'm like, why can't she move? I don't understand that. So she had to detach herself from that.
Yep.
And then she was after her forever. And did you notice I read this that the Queen, her teeth are clear, and all the other aliens' teeth are like metallic looking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
I think
bigger.
they had trouble building that rig anyway. There was a lot of trash bags involved.
Yes.
If I remember properly.
Yeah.
How about this? And maybe it gets down to it. The aliens aren't evil. They're just doing their alien thing.
Yeah, they're just trying to
That's how they survive.
Right. The food chain thing.
They're creating, life is what they're trying to do.
That's how they survive. They steal people.
Uh-huh.
They nest them. And as far as they're concerned, I'm not sticking up for the aliens. I'm just saying, like they're not the devil. They're not serial killers. They're not Michael Myers. They're just doing their alien thing. It's like when sharks attack people in the ocean. Like, what the fuck do you expect?
It's our house, guys. It's our house. You broke in.
You came in, right? So you can't. So when it comes down to it at the end, it's maternal instinct versus maternal instinct, and whoever is the smartest and the toughest is gonna win. But somebody's got to win. But neither of them are really at fault necessarily. I mean, there is no queen. The queen bear, the mama bear, is that's why there's T-shirts made for uppity white mothers that say "Mama, don't mess with Mama Bear." Like, you can't. I'm sorry if you have one, Melanie.
No. They're all from the South, apparently.
I should have one of those. I know, my T-shirt would probably say "Helicopter Mom."
All right, fair enough. So, but it's like, that's, what do you expect it to do? You just killed all of its babies. Of course it's going to come after you with aplomb and keep going after you. You would do the same thing. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, it's just, you're not rooting for the alien, but it's almost like, well.
Yeah, but you're right. Nobody messes with my kids. And that's how, Sigourney Weaver was trying to protect that girl, and then the aliens were trying to protect their kids. Yeah. I mean, and Sigourney Weaver cannot probably, she missed the opportunities to have children on her own. There was something about that. I have it here on my phone because I didn't write it down. But
you have Sigourney Weaver's babies on your phone?
Yeah.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll just say that in Alien versus Predator, I'm rooting for the Predator.
Why?
I don't know. I just I remember I saw it once, and I remember siding with him. I don't know,
all right, good. Freddy versus Jason. Who you got?
Jason.
Scarpetti?
Yeah, Jason.
Yeah, Jason.
Yeah, I got to do it too. Freddy was getting really annoying at that point.
I saw it in the theater. And when Jason appeared, right behind Freddy, the crowd went nuts.
Yeah.
It was a packed theater. They all went, "Yay!"
Because Freddy's evil.
Yep.
Yeah, because Freddy's evil. He was just a child predator and a child rapist, and he was a killer, and he's still evil. Where Jason was just like this dumb kid who, was trying to survive, and then doesn't like anybody to go to his house, and somebody killed his mom, so he's all angry about it.
Perfect justification.
It's my house.
It's my house.
Yeah, get out of my woods. Get out of my.
So,
yeah, in an alternative universe, there's a bunch of aliens watching this movie, cheering for the aliens. You're right.
Sure.
Chris.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's my problem, I think, with Alien 3 and 4, is that their killing rampage, I don't know how justified it is. You know what I mean? I don't remember much about it. I just remember, there were, alien dogs in Alien 3. Is that the one that has dogs?
No, I think that's 4.
Right?
I don't know.
Is that 4?
That reminds me of Ghostbusters.
Oh, it's fucking ridiculous. And so the motivations are all cloudy. It's just special effects. I think Sigourney Weaver said I wasn't going to do Alien 4, and then they backed up a dump truck full of money, and I said, okay. And I respect that. You're saying,
she didn't want to do any of them. That's what I was trying to find, but I didn't write it in here. She didn't want to do this at all. She said no 1,000 times, but she liked the relationship that her and Newt had, and it had something to do with a kid of hers or something in the past. I don't remember what it was, but she liked this whole relationship thing and the way they wrote her in. And then she was really upset because I guess Cameron had to cut some stuff and shorten the movie, and he shortened a lot about that relationship, and she was a little bit upset about it.
Okay, can we, before we do TMI, can we just briefly talk about Bill Paxton? R.I.P. Bill Paxton. So here's
Please,
I want
talk
to
about
look. All right, so here's the thing. Here's my thing with Bill Paxton. I'm looking for people to back me up here. Or not, or just get your opinion. No, don't back me up. Just want your opinion. Everybody in Hollywood really kind of was up in arms when he passed away, and I think it's because he generally was just a good guy. Mm-hmm. Like, he didn't have a lot of, like, he wasn't a bad person or good. He just wanted to do his thing. He just wanted to make movies. He was involved in the editing process and the producing process. He loved the movies, and he wanted to be in the movies. And we do miss him because, and I never saw that series he did as a polygamist. But my wife saw it and said he was very likable, even as a polygamist. I guess that was the point, right? You have to like him even though he has 9 wives or whatever the case may be. I didn't see it, so I don't know. Having said that, and the other movies that I've seen him in, is he real good? Is he a good actor, or do we just like him? I'm not saying he's a better actor than me. I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I'm just saying compared to everybody else, like, is he a good actor, or do we just like the stuff he does every time?
Well, let's back up, because back then we didn't know him other than, okay, that's Chet. Chet just arrived on an alien ship, right?
Yeah.
Like that was so iconic when he played Chet that I know, Chris, you didn't see it back then, so that was not your first impression. But us, we were like, holy shit, it's Chet. It took a long time before he became Bill Paxton. He was Chet for so long. Yeah. So, I mean, he was very convincing as a mega douche in Weird Science.
Oh, he's so funny in that.
Right, no, but he's still an ass. You know what I mean? He throws the egg up on the freaking ceiling, and treats everybody like shit. I would say if he pulls that off the way he does, I mean, he was a good actor. You know what I mean? Like,
think about True Lies, how good he was in True Lies. His character in True Lies was the funniest character in that movie. He was hysterical. Like, oh my God, he did such a good job. Like in that, and like It's a Weird Science, he was really good, and he played what he needed to do in Titanic. I think he was a good actor. But you're right, Chris. I do love him a lot. So
now, is he going to be mistaken for Jack Nicholson's quality? You know, like as far as that you know, like shows up and like, you know, almost takes over the whole screen because he's such a presence. No,
no.
But you know, there's different grades of good actor.
Steve?
Well, also it's the roles that you get too. You know what I mean? It really has to do with a lot of the roles that you get.
I maintain that he's Hudson in this, and in True Lies he plays the other guy, and it's and he's kind of the True Lies character, and the one in Titanic, even though the one in Titanic isn't a huckster, isn't lying to whoever. They're shadows of the same thing. Steve, where are you on Bill Paxton? Good actor, bad actor?
I have to
say,
like
him? What's it?
I love Bill Paxton, and I think he's one of those actors that you just love. Like, there's actors that you like their performances, like, say, Christian Bale. But I would never say I like Christian Bale. I mean, I like his performances, but I wouldn't say I like him. But I love Bill Paxton. You know, I love Tom Hanks. You know, even in his bad movies right now that he's doing, like, I'm like, what are you doing? I still like him in those movies. You know.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm just curious because again, the reason I'm saying it is for the person that's looking over my shoulder. I mean, Keanu Reeves, not good. Like, he's not good, but I love him. I love him.
Yeah.
He's no Daniel Day-Lewis, right? As far as acting goes. But he's but you love him, you know?
I know. He says 182 words or something in John Wick 4. And half of them are, So, but I just love it. And that's my point with Bill Paxton. You're looking at him.
Roles that you get. It's like, who knows? I mean, if he got a role that had a lot more dialogue and a lot more to him being serious in it, like, it's the roles that you get. Like, Jack Nicholson gets these incredible roles, and he's an incredible actor, but it also has to do with the luck of the draw, what kind of role that you get. You know what I mean? Who knows what he's capable of if he only were to get some sort of a different kind of role.
Right, and maybe that's the point we're coming around to is like, I wonder if he had been given the chance to expand, what future Bill Paxton would be, and I think that's what saddens us about that.
Well, he was also in the middle of making a brand new series, and then he had he died.
I think no matter what, because you brought up Big Love, and I read that character was not supposed to be so loving by the audience, but because it's Bill, he did give it some more depth and some more warmth, and that's just the kind of actor I think he is, unfortunately. I think if you gave him a serious role, you'd still be like, oh, I love you, Bill.
Yeah. Chet is so great.
Yeah.
You know, guys, we could say a similar thing about Patrick Swayze. Like, you know, I mean, I love Patrick Swayze. Every time I see an image of him or I see him, I go, oh, what the fuck? Like, 'cause I really, really liked him. You know, like and I felt we got robbed of him too soon. You know, he had a warm presence about him in stuff that he did. So like, you know, but was he the best actor in the world? No. You know what I mean? So like,
great in Dirty Dancing. My 19-year-old daughter, when she hears him singing, and you know, was it Just Like the Wind?
Yeah,
no, She's Like the Wind.
She cries.
She's Like the Wind. Yeah,
She's Like the Wind. Yeah, she cries. She cries when she hears that because of how much she loves him, and she's 19. She didn't even grow up with him like we did, and she cries. She's like, it just bothers me so much that he died.
So, well, on that depressing note, let's go to TMI.
I
agree.
And that's a lot. Like you're saying, you love him so much, and like she didn't even grow up with him, and it bothers her that much. You know what I mean? When she hears him, like, because you just love him so much. You just love him so much. You know,
Swayze in Point Break. He's the bad guy. He's supposed to be the guy that you're against, but
you love him too. You love him there too a little bit. And that's actually
let's go.
The rub.
Yeah.
That's the rub in that movie, though. That's the rub right there. Because Keanu kind of loves him, too. You know what I mean? Like that thing.
Yeah, he does.
Except for Chris. Chris didn't love him.
I'm in love with that movie. I love that movie.
Nope.
Yeah, Chris didn't like that movie.
Come on.
You know why? Because he saw it. You know what? He saw it at 40-something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You see that movie for the first time at 40-something. You're not thinking like a 18, 20.
Oh, God, make it 2.
Yes.
Hey.
Me too.
Don't pick on
I didn't like it. It didn't speak to me at all. I'm sorry.
That's because he was
or
too
Top
old
Gun.
when he watched
Fuck Top Gun. I don't want to. I don't want to.
Top Gun to me is not as good as Point Break.
Oh my God! Wow.
When I saw Point Break, I wanted to jump out of planes and go surfing.
Oh my God! It's comparing shit and stool. All right, moving on.
Well, this bathroom break is brought to you by TMI.
It's time for TMI with Melanie.
Listen to this. I am in the bathroom right before the movie starts. And I'm in the stall, and there's no toilet paper.
And mine are at home in a display case above my bed. TMI, my friends.
TMI? Too much information. Don't go there, but that's lame.
Now, here's Melanie with your timeless movie info.
All right, Melanie, let's have it.
Okay. So the budget was $18.5 million, and the gross, they don't have an exact number. It was anywhere between 131 to 183 million. So I don't really know why there's not a definite amount. It's kind of a big gap there.
One could be domestic, one could be worldwide.
Maybe, yeah. So Sigourney Weaver's Best Actress Academy Award nomination for this movie was the first ever for an actress in a role of action and sci-fi. She was paid $1 million to reprise her role as Ripley, a 30-fold increase in salary from Alien 1979, and she also received a percentage of the film's gross. So, you know, she made a killing on that one.
Oh, yeah.
Her salary would increase with every Alien movie, $5.5 million for Alien 1992, and finally $11 million for Alien Resurrection in 97. Oh, the slide, when you guys were talking about the slide, when filming the scene, Newt and the duct, and she had to go down that slide, it said that she kept blowing her scene over and over so she could just keep sliding down the vent. And then she said it was called a 3-story tall slide. And James Cameron finally told her that, listen, if you just complete the shot for me, you can play on it as much as you want. And then she promised, and then she did it right. Bill Paxton constantly had to apologize to Carrie Henn throughout the entire filming. Every time Hudson had to swear in front of her, he hated doing that in front of her. And then he also...
Proof he's a good guy.
Yeah. She said she didn't mind because she didn't understand what the words meant anyway. He also improvised a lot of his lines, and he says the F-bomb 25 times and man 35 times.
Awesome.
Man!
Yeah. Lance Henriksen wanted to wear a double pupil contact lens for the scene where Bishop is working in the lab on a microscope, and he gives a scary look to one of the Marines. He came to the set with those lenses on, but after the test, James Cameron decided that he did not want him to wear them because he was already acting in character just the right amount of creepiness. And Cameron later said that Bishop looked scarier than the aliens when he had those contact lenses in there.
Might be an exaggeration.
Well, yeah, he just didn't want him to wear them. He was like, you look too creepy.
Yeah.
Lance Henriksen had pledged for himself to quit acting if this part did not work out for him. Good thing this movie proved to be one of the most successful films. I love him. He's another. I just love him. I loved him in Jennifer 8.
Pumpkinhead.
Was he in Pumpkinhead?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he's the lead character.
God.
So good in Pumpkinhead.
Okay, I'll have to rewatch that because my mother, of course, has that one.
Okay.
James Cameron faced a big problem trying to win the confidence and respect of the British crew, many of whom had worked on Alien 79 and were fiercely loyal to Ridley Scott. In order to try and convince them that he had talent and skills for the job, he arranged a screening of Terminator 84 for the crew on the set to demonstrate his abilities. However, most of the crew ignored the invite and did not bother to turn up. The British crew was openly hostile to both James Cameron and Gail Ann Hurd.
And everyone else on the planet.
Exactly. It said in their eyes, Cameron was a nobody who had not made a decent film yet because they hadn't seen Terminator. And while they openly mocked Hurd by claiming that she only got to be a producer because she was married to Cameron and that they would not take orders from a woman. They were also not used to working 12 hours a day, which was the average shooting day in the U.S. Bill Paxton later said that his British film crew drove everybody nuts with their work ethics, literally stopping the film in the middle of a very complicated scene just so that they could go to tea or go to the pub or finish early. One of their few allies among them was his producer-designer Peter Lamont, who Cameron later hired as a production designer on True Lies 94 and even got him out of retirement to work on Titanic in 97. Apparently, Sigourney Weaver had to become the mediator so that they could try and peacefully finish the film because they knew who she was. None of the models or the original designs of the shuttle from Alien 79 could be found. So the set designers and model makers had to reconstruct the model of the ship and the interior of the set by watching Alien 79.
Nice.
Yeah, this is kind of cool too. The Alien nest set was kept intact after filming, and it was later used as the Axis chemical set for Batman in 1989. When the Batman crew first entered the set, they found most of the alien nest still intact. One of the alien eggs was used in the film and is now in the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C.
Which I have seen.
Have you
seen
that? Cool. I was going to say you're there.
It's very cool.
Really?
It's just a big You know, if you've ever seen movie props from movies up close, they look so fake.
Yeah.
It looks so fake. Like, that's the actual, looks like something you'd see at, like, Spirit Halloween. Yeah. But there it is. It's a big old egg with, like, goo on the top. But it's really cool. It's like, oh my God, it's like whenever you walk in that place, you go, oh Jesus, oh my God, and that's one of the things I freaked out on.
That's so cool. I'd like to see that. Yep. I like to see anything from sets, and I like to see anything with special effects. Yep. I'm all into all of that. When the set crews were looking around the floor for floor grading to use as a set design, they had asked a local set design manufacturer shop if they had anything of that sort. And indeed they did, because they had a huge pile of old floor grading that had been sitting out in the back of their shop for the last 7 years, because it was left there from when they tore down the set in Alien 79. So it was perfect. To bring the alien queen to life, it would take anything from between 14 to 16 operators, since the head, neck, body, and legs, face, lips, and jaws, and tongue all had to move independently. Stan Winston constructed a mold from fiberglass and foam, which was dressed with black garbage bags, as you mentioned, and moved by 2 puppeteers inside. The full-built animatronic creature was so convincing that Steven Spielberg later enlisted Winston to construct the full animatronic for T-Rex, which I love, for Jurassic Park in '93. This was also another movie where they used KY for special effects goo.
Yeah.
I forgot what other movie.
More than one use. More than one use, folks.
Exactly. The movie's budget for production design was almost running out when it was time to construct the set for the hypersleep chambers. Each chamber cost over $4,300 to build. I hope they kept one of them somewhere. Meaning that they could only afford to make 4. The whole scene almost was cut completely, but they devised a trick to do clever placement of mirrors, which remember when they did that in some other movie before, where they had to make it look like there was a bunch of things. Yep. And camera angles to make it look like there were 12 chambers instead of 4, allowing the scene to be filmed. The alien screams are baboon shrieks that were altered. Isn't that crazy? Apparently, when James, this is the one I was talking about. James Remar was cast in the role in the beginning for Corporate Hicks. Apparently, he didn't stay on, and they replaced him. But when he was still in it, So when he was still doing it, he used a Model 37 pump action shotgun and accidentally blew a hole in the set of The Little Shop of Horrors in 1986, which was being shot on stage next to Aliens at Pinewood Studios.
Wow.
And they couldn't figure out how in the world they got live ammo into that gun. That has been done way too many times.
Mm-hmm.
Way too many times.
All right.
Oh, one other thing on the Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another movie I still can't get past the first 20 minutes.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, I just watched it the other day.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah. Every time I thought, I don't know, man, I'm out.
I want to say...
I'm with you, Jay. I'm with you.
I want to say one thing.
Thanks, man.
I just want to say
now
one thing.
the Hollywood Squares has swapped.
I know, right? Jeanette Goldstein, who plays Private Vasquez, is not Spanish.
Yeah.
And she got out of acting pretty soon after Aliens came out. And now she owns a custom brassiere shop in Hollywood.
No way.
For people that either have had mastectomies
Aww.
or for people that need sizes.
Heavier, yeah.
I've seen, like, there's a documentary and she's just end of the day she's just locking up her shop and walking home. Like, that's what she does, and she gets a lot out of that more than she got out of acting. So
yeah, they said they had to darken her skin to make her look Hispanic.
Yeah.
I forgot what she was like. She was Russian and something else descent, two things. But they darkened her skin to try to make her look like she was Hispanic because she wanted the role.
Yeah.
And, she didn't look like she was Hispanic, so they tried to make her look like she was Hispanic because they wanted a Hispanic person to play that role.
Nothing's worse. Nothing's worse than Remo Williams.
Yep.
When they had Joel Grey, a little Jewish guy, and they turned him into a Korean guy.
Yep.
Oh.
Holy moly.
Jennifer Grey's father. They made a little Korean guy named Kim.
He had the moves, but I'm sure other people of the actual ethnicity could move.
The
like
accent
that as well.
was great.
Yep.
Everything, but that said was there's not one. There is not one Korean man in this world that can play this role. So let's get Joel Grey.
Joel Grey.
I think too, it's like it goes down to the people that want the role so bad. They're like, I'll be it, whatever you want.
That's so bad, though.
So Fisher Stevens in Short Circuit,
That's right. That's right.
Jeez.
And then you tuck your tongue down her. Oh God.
Right. God. But you know what? I feel bad for him a little bit because it was like his first leading role. It's like, he's doing that and thinking like this is okay, because at the time nobody like poo-pooed it, but boy, I feel bad now because he's like, he tends to get like run under the rails.
It's really amazing how many of these actors are in other Cameron movies too, though, right? Like, isn't that crazy? Like, even Jeanette Goldstein, she plays Edward Furlong's adopted mom in Terminator 2. Isn't that her?
Yeah.
No, I think so. Yeah,
it is her. Yeah.
So it's great. Like, that's one of the things when I rewatched
Vasquez?
Aliens, I was like,
yes.
I know Jeanette Goldstein. I mean, Vasquez.
Vasquez. Yeah.
Yep.
So she's the woman with the curly hair.
She's in Terminator 2. Yes.
Oh, and then she's also the but she's the mom, like telling a good night story to her children on Titanic.
No way.
No. Oh yeah, that's right. Yes.
Are you serious?
Right. I forgot about that one. Yes.
Oh my God, she looks so different. I'm gonna have to go look up her again because I didn't even recognize.
Well, I mean, she looks exactly the same as the girl that plays the mom in Terminator, but not looking.
Yeah, I need to go look her up again too to see what she looks like in different roles.
Mm-hmm.
They said she was all proud because she really did all those what do you call them, sit-ups,
pull-ups,
pull-ups, yeah.
Pull-ups. Yeah, because she was like she worked hard on that and she get all those muscles and
do half a pull-up.
Oh, I can't do pull-ups for shit. I exercise and I do weights, but I can't do a pull-up for nothing.
You guys ready? We'll do
upper body strength.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's time now for Final Judgment. Are you ready to rubber stamp this bitch? Here's the Final Judgment.
All right, it's time for Final Judgment, a time where we talk about no longer opinions, but fact. Like, that was Vasquez. I don't know. So here we go. We're going to go.
Freestyling. All right.
We're just discussing stuff like that was her. No, it wasn't. So, all right. Let's go with Chris.
Sure. Hi. So this movie absolutely holds up. The way that it's very tight storytelling. It's got scares in it. It's got all of that. The kind of masculine gunplay that just falls apart. Things that happen that you don't expect. Terrifying shots. The one where Newt is by herself in the water and the alien comes up behind her is absolutely terrifying. And I'm sure I'm going to take somebody's thunder on this. The only thing that doesn't hold up is you cannot foresee technology when you're doing these movies, and I watched 2001: A Space Odyssey. I have no problem with any of the tech in that, even though we're way beyond that. We were way beyond that in 2001. And same thing here. The video conferencing is obviously, someone's vision in 86 of the future, because we were so far away from video calling at that point that it might as well be that. But besides that, absolutely the movie holds up. It's action-packed. It's super entertaining. So yeah, it does. I will go to Steve.
I
X
agree.
Gets the square. All right.
I think it's
okay.
just...
Now Melanie. No. I agree.
That's it. I agree. Everything Chris said. No, I mean the acting, the lighting, the soundtrack, the shots, like everything about this movie, I just completely geek out about. Yep. It's one of those movies that if somebody says, "Okay, you're a movie lover, what movie should I watch?" It's on my list. Like we talked about. Did we talk about this off air or on here? I'm not sure, but Halloween, Jaws, like these are movies that they just look so great and they tell such a great story, and this is one of them. And I love it even more that you can watch this with or without watching the first one. It can be a standalone movie, or you can watch it after watching the first one and think, oh, it's just like the typical sequel where it's bigger and it's more, but it's not. It's almost both, You can be both just a standalone sequel and it's that bigger, more thing, but it's also giving you something new and different. I don't know how that makes sense, but to me, when I think of Aliens, that's what I think. I think it's more of the same, but completely different in many other ways too, You know
what I geek out on? And I'm going to do the final judgment, but Steve, don't you freak out when they have the loadout scene, when they're getting ready, and that drum comes in, da, 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 and they're all getting their gear and shit, and you're just like, yeah! And then they jump out and they all die. But that loadout scene is absolutely epic, and that I can hear when I can't sleep. I can hear that drum part in my brain. Oh, it's so good. I forgot about that, and thank you for that. All right, Steve, who are you gonna send it off to?
Oh, one more thing before we move on. Also want to say about Cameron, though, it's amazing how he was with practical stuff back then. Cameron's special effects back then is fantastic. Like, it's all practical, and it's weird because now he's such a CGI guy with special effects like Avatar and Titanic. So it's amazing to go back and see him and almost like progress through his career, see how he's moved forward and progressed and become better at it,
Sure. Agreed. 100%. Steve, who do you want to give it to?
Melanie.
Go.
Okay. So I agree with you where you don't have to watch the first one to remember it to be able to watch the second one, which is good. And because I was worried about that because I'm like, I don't remember the first one. Should I be watching that first? I definitely think it holds up because especially for people who love sci-fi, if you look this up on the internet, like it has a huge following. It's almost like a cult classic right now. Special effects, I still love how the aliens look, but of course in the way everything looks, of course, now it still looks good, but of course they could make it better now, of course. But no, I liked it. I thought it was really action-packed and it was entertaining the entire time I was watching it. And the very end of it, you were like, it was very intense and you couldn't wait for her to climb up and shut that thing, that elevator thing, so you could get him out.
Oh, yeah.
But when they went into their cyber sleep thing at the very end, I was like, that's it? Like, I don't know. Like, I was expecting something else. Like, I'm like, well, that's it? Like, that's it? Is there, what else is going to happen now? Like, I don't know. Like, I just thought that there was, and I kept, like, going, they didn't really do that back then, but I kept going past all the words,
post-credits. Looking for post-credits.
Yeah, there was like something else is going to pop out. I'm like, no, wait. My husband's like, no, Melanie, that's it. I'm like, no, wait. There's going to be something. So there was I was kind of hoping there'd be a little bit something extra at the end there, but I enjoyed watching the whole thing. I don't think it's going to be on high rotation for me because it is a long movie. And it's not like Halloween or Jaws where literally every single time Jaws or Halloween is on, I have to watch it. So I loved it. I enjoyed watching it, but it's not going to be something that I'm going to have in high rotation, but I totally enjoyed it. And I definitely think it holds up.
Cool.
Jason. This is the king of post-credits.
Yeah, it's annoying at this point. What are you going to see next?
Oh, I love it.
Oh, yeah, that is totally is, yeah.
Okay, so yes, it holds up. I think it's a good test because, like I said, I had not seen it since back then. So it's one of those, like, if it's really grabbing me and I'm really intrigued, everything's, it's the whole story's really keeping me along. The only thing I was looking at going, ooh, that could have looked better, is that vehicle, that car that was going into the thing. It just looked like, okay, I think this is what we would have in the future. And it's like everything's like triangular.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, aerodynamics are a thing, but I don't know. It almost looked like it was just an effort at trying to look like a future car. But like if we look at that now, like I go, I wouldn't buy that. Like that,
it's
like something that looks like that.
It's got zero suspension. It can't go over a bump.
I know you weren't here for the Wraith, but it almost looks like that Interceptor car for the Wraith. It's like, sort of looked cool in 1986, but not now. So either way, that aside, that really, is irrelevant. It is a fun movie, and I would recommend it to anyone that can handle kind of gross things. You know what I mean? Because, it is kind of nasty when Lance Hendrick, Bishop's lying there, gasping for whatever air, and you see all that milky blood and all the looks like tentacles coming out of him, even though it's
That's
just.
what I thought I remembered. I thought I remembered tentacles or something. I'm like, is there like an alien kind of walking around, his head stuck on him or something? That's all I kept remembering, and I'm like, oh no, that's just part of who he is.
So,
oops.
All right. Well, this was a lot of fun, guys. I got to say, it was just like, it's one of those movies. It's so much fun that we did like an hour and a half. Where, even though it probably is not going to all make it, someone's going to end up on the cutting room floor, but. It's just one of those, like, it's so much to talk about. It's a lot of fun, and that's why we're talking so much about it.
Yeah, good.
But that was our show, and I'd like to thank Steve Scarpetti for being here. And if you can just remind everybody how to listen to you.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. I'm on 94 HJY on your radio, or you can follow us on the iHeart Radio app and just look for 94 HJY on there. I'm on 3 to 7 every day.
I drove 7 hours to Canada, and I listened to HJY the whole time.
Yes!
On iHeart Radio. Because it actually is one of the better mixes of any of the stations around. Yeah. I'm being totally honest. Because we have classic rock here, and it's not... No, I'm serious. Like, I have a classic rock station here, and like, this is all great classic rock, but I want to hear the other stuff, too. And that's why I really dug... Like, and no matter what I sample, it's always... I'm always going back to HJY, so I appreciate your station a lot.
Oh, thanks,
Chris. No doubt.
I got a check in the mail for you. Don't worry.
All right,
check in the mail.
Thank
you.
Well, I'd like to also thank Steve Lavoie for our vocal imaging and Draco and the Malfoys for our awesome theme song. And I'd like to ask people to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and be sure to hit the bell icon and to get notified whenever we release a new episode, and tell your friends. But also... if you are only following us on YouTube and you're newer to us, we have tons more episodes on audio. So we've been doing this for a couple years now, so almost 3 years that we've been doing the show. So almost 100 episodes or so, close to it, on audio. So if you're not familiar with our podcast side, which is the same show, but it's just that we've focused a lot more on video lately. And by the way, I do my best to interact with the people who comment on the videos, so I'm really enjoying that. Hello, Chris Grove. He's our it seems like our main person that keeps commenting on stuff. So I just want to mention him.
Great name.
Yeah,
he is the best. He's got a great name. We'll keep him.
So yeah, thanks. And
Grove.
Well. I am Jay Fortier, and on the behalf of Chris Martineau and Melanie Harton, I'd like to thank you again for joining us here on the Film Crickets. And until next time, movies may not age like fine wine or a recent cup of coffee, but we drink it anyway. Bye.
Film Crickets, chirping about movies.